Hello, am I online? I hope so. Please let me know if this is working out. Okay, cool. My name is Ultra David, and welcome to the first level 3 focus that I've had in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I was in Washington, D.C. doing some stuff. I did appear via satellite, we're going to claim, on the Tuesday show last week, but I didn't do it for Monday because I was busy with stuff, so I'm sorry. But this time, I'm back, and I want to talk about something that just happened. Usually, I have to wait a little while to talk about results because I don't have video for a tournament that just happened, like literally yesterday. But this is one case where I do, and that's great because it's something that I really, really want to talk about. As you can tell from the title, which I have so cleverly made, Yipes is pretty smart and stuff. um, Yipes had this, so IFC Yipes, Michael Mendoza, had an incredible set against Chris G in the grand finals of Summer Jam over this past weekend. It was Yipes and Chris G in winners finals, which I'm not going to show you, and then again in grand finals, which I am going to show you. But just to do a little bit of a background on why I think this is so interesting, I'm sure that you know who Yipes is. I would think so. He is a longtime competitor. I just found out in an interview that he did with Paul Kugler from Broken Tier earlier today that he started out as a first-person shooter player. I had no idea, but apparently he switched over to fighting games, and that worked out pretty well for him. He was one of the strongest Marvel vs. Capcom 2 players, one of the gods of that game, and ultimately won an EVO. And then he had kind of a rough transition. I think James actually mentioned it earlier, over to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but he has finally done it successfully. He finally won a major tournament in Marvel 3 after having practiced and been a really strong player for a long time. I mean, he's had these great results in lots of tournaments, just hasn't actually won. He has a couple of different teams that he plays, and we're actually going to get to see both of them. The first one is Spencer, Virgil, and Hawkeye, which is kind of more of an up-close brawling sort of team, at least at the start. The last couple characters can deal a little bit better with zoning. And then it's Dante, Virgil, Magneto is his other one, which is a little bit more well-rounded. Dante is a really well-rounded character and can deal with zoning a little bit better, so we're going to see him use both of those teams. His competitor is Chris G, who I would think that you also know, but just if you don't, Chris G is another very strong player. He has been playing for a long time, but only really came onto the scene as a major tournament winner last year. I would say maybe a little bit longer than that, a couple years now. He is just a jack of all trades. I mean, he's awesome at a ton of different games. I think if I recall correctly, it was Civil War earlier this year where he got top 8 in 6 or 7 different games at the same tournament. Ridiculous. But in this game, he's known for trying to optimize the Morgan Soul Fist kind of zoning game. He's not the first one who came up with that, or even really the one who popularized it, but when he saw how strong it was, he built this team that is Morgan, Doom, and Akuma that is just in my opinion, one of the smartest teams in the game. I think he's a smart player, but I think that the smartest thing that he's ever done in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is pick this team, because it just destroys a lot of teams. It's very hard to get around. You really have to look very much in depth as to how you're going to deal with it. You have to deal not just with Morgan, keep away, and zoning, and even offensive sometimes. You have to deal with missiles, and then you have to deal with the fact that all of those characters can play as anchors. You have to deal with the fact that Akuma has a lot of good buttons and good options, and Doom kills anybody, well, most characters, in a single combo. He has just a super, super dangerous team. It's really well made. At this tournament, apparently this is the first time that these two guys have ever fought in a tournament, which surprised me, but I guess that's the case. So they've never actually played before, but Yipes, in the interview that I mentioned earlier with Kugi, mentioned that he hasn't really gotten to play against Chris, but he has played against Morgan teams. Some of his other friends play a Morgan, and he has watched Chris a lot. This is a guy who has the ability to put a lot of time into games and to really break things down. He's a very smart guy. He makes very quick decisions, and he's known for quick thinking on the spot, and we'll see some of that in this set. So just to go through what happens in winners finals, like I said, I'm not going to show this to you, just because I didn't have enough time to break down that many games. But it's a 3-0 blow up by Chris over Yipes, sending the Yipes to losers, where he has to beat Fnatic to come back to grand finals. So Yipes kills Morgan and Doom in the first game. Chris has a huge X Factor Akuma comeback. In the second game, Chris G switches to more active Morgan style and wins with it. And then in the third game, he again uses this more active, kind of offensive Morgan style. Like I said, this is a character in Morgan that is not just about defense. She can play a more complete game. She has the ability to pressure. She can do reasonable damage. She's got a lot of good stuff going for her, and he uses that, and that actually defeats Yipes. So Yipes loses. He beats Fnatic. It's a run back now. It's the salty run back in grand finals. Let's go over to the game. Thank you, lovely assistant. All right, cool. So like I said, this is the second time that these guys have played in a major tournament, and it's in a tournament, and it's in this tournament. So here, pause, just because I just want to talk about the team selection that he goes with here. This is a really interesting adaptation, I would say, by Yipes. Like I said, Chris G went with this more offensive Morgan style in the last game, and unfortunately we don't have it. But I think because of that, he goes with his more kind of brawler style team. Like Spencer is a character that will get in and own you up. He's an extremely high damage character with great mix-ups once he gets in, and he has decent mobility. And if he thinks that you're going to be playing the style that he saw in winners finals, then this team selection could be pretty good. I was very confused as to why he went with this team at first, because I don't necessarily feel like Spencer does that well against Chris G Morgan missiles. But, like I said, he just saw that particular style from Chris G the last time they had played, 10 minutes before this, and so he tries to sort of counter it in a way. So let's go into it. All right, cool. You're going to see a bit of struggling from Yipes in terms of getting in. He knows that he has this very high damage output character. But Chris G can set up, Soul Fist with the image, with the mirrors, and that just makes it really tough for Spencer to get around. You can see he's kind of caught. Yeah, it's not going to work out too well. He's trying to call some assist to get things going. He knows that's not going to work, and he knows it hasn't been working out, so he switches over to Virgil. We're going to see a lot of Virgil because this is the sole character that is common to all of his team, or to both of his teams, and it's a really smart selection of character. I think he's one of the strongest in this game. He has the ability to deal with a lot of different playstyles, and Morrigan's is one of them. But you see, as soon as there's a Virgil in there, Chris G goes back to this more active style of Morrigan. He comes in for the pressure, and I think he gets the kill here. Yeah. So that's it for Virgil, which is, like I was saying, a pretty significant threat to Chris G's team. So as soon as Spencer's coming back in, we can see he Yipes, as I'll talk about in a little bit, has some of the best movement of anybody in Marvel 3, as he did in Marvel 2. It's amazing to watch. But you can see that with this character in Spencer, he has to commit to something long distance. If he's going to do a zip, he can't really stop it, so he just has to commit. And that's not easy to get around Morgan's stuff. So we have Hawkeye coming in. Hawkeye is a good anchor, and a pretty good character against Morgan, too. But he's got to make this full comeback against, two full-life characters. Morgan with X Factor, she's very, very dangerous right here. Luckily, he has X Factor on, so he's not going to take the chip death. But, obviously, this is a bad look. His X Factor's running out. It's going to be hard for him to get in here. Chris G is being very smart about this, though. By the way, I don't want to pretend like this is just an exhibition of Yipes being smart, because Chris G makes a lot of really intelligent decisions, and one of them was there. He wasn't throwing Soul Fists out of fear of random gimlets. As you'll see, gimlets are a thing. But at this point, he knows that Hawkeye, so close to death from anything that he's willing to throw him out. And even if that were to hit him, I think it did hit him. Yeah, that's fine, because obviously he got the win. So Yipes didn't like how that went. It was a very smart play by Chris. It was, I thought, a really... Yeah, you can go back. It's we're gonna go to a break after this. But I thought it was a really smart play by Chris G. There were a couple things that I pointed out there that were very intelligent of him. He played this very smart way against a Spencer who he knows is not the best at getting in. He had a little bit more pressure-heavy style against Virgil and made sure to take that character out ASAP because he knows that that's a major threat to his team. And then when it was Hawkeye in, he took care to not get hit by too many random gimlets until he knew that he could spare the life. Really smart play. So Yipes didn't like that. He's going to go to the switch. We're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to see Yipes switch over to his Dante team and see if he can do a little bit better. Thanks a lot. I was just laughing about the shirt comments. This shirt's awesome. Whatever. Your shirt sucks. So now, I want to talk about something that's going to happen a lot in this set, and I just want to bring it up so that you can notice it because I'm not going to have time to point it out each and every time. The way that Yipes deals with missiles. So in Morgan missiles, the reason that I think that this is such an optimized shell for Morgan is that she can control all of this awesome horizontal space, right? And it's up to a pretty high level, but it's not as effective at max super jump height. Most characters can do like a super jump and at the maximum top whiff something to keep themselves up in the air. They can perform some action. Worst case scenario, they can go up into the air and avoid things for a little bit. There are some characters that can just hang out there for a really long time if you're MODOK or somebody like that. But that upward angle is not Morgan's strength. If you have Doom missiles, though, things change completely because now you can't just go up into the air and whiff things because Doom missiles, they get shot right up. And even though it takes them a little bit of a time to go all the way up and all the way back down, they get up to the top of the screen pretty quickly. And that means that you can't just go up there, if you're Hagar, whiff a few command grabs, right? That's not really as much of an option. So it really covers Morgan's angles really well. Obviously, if you call missiles and the opponent gets in on you, missiles can be a combo breaker, which we'll see Yipes deal with in some very interesting ways. And if Morgan wants to pressure, she can also use missiles to do that. So it really is awesome for her. It does everything that she wants from an assist. So in dealing with Christie's team, you're not just dealing with Morgan, you're dealing with Morgan missiles, and you have to figure out some strong ways to deal with that assist. And just pay attention to Yipes' movement. I'll bring it up a couple of times in particular, but his movement to get around those missiles is amazing, and he has a couple particularly really interesting things to deal with missiles that are coming when he's comboing Chris already. So okay, let's get over to the match again. Thank you. Like I said, he's going to go over to the Dante team. Dante, Virgil, and Magneto. When there was that big who has the best Magneto row, if you recall, Yipes was kind of the accidental instigator of that. And in that instigation, he said that he thought that he had one of the best Magnetos. So, I mean, he looks pretty solid in this one. So Dante is a really smart choice against a Morgan. He has such excellent movement. He has projectiles that can, nullify things to some extent. He has great mobility with, teleports, and he's so fast. Okay, here's one of the things that I want to bring up. Yeah, just go backwards a little bit. So, I mentioned that there are times in this set where Yipes is comboing Chris G and missiles are coming out. And what are you going to do? Let's see, when does he call missiles here? I think it's like coming up.
A little bit.
And yeah, it's a little bit. It's not quite yet.
Yeah, it's the next missiles.
Next missiles. Okay, so pause.
Okay.
So missiles are coming at him. What's he going to do? The combo's over. There's nothing you can do about that. The combo is done. The question is, what are you going to do about it? So there are a few different things that you can do. One, you can just stop and maybe block and, okay, fine, you block. That sucks, though, because it allows Morgan to set up whatever she wants. If she wants to pressure you, now she can do it. Or if instead she wants to, get full screen and go into Astral Vision, she can do that too. Those are both really bad for you. Instead, you can just snap the opponent out. And this way, you're going to block the missiles. Again, nothing to do about that. You're going to block the missiles, though, and on the incoming character now you have a big advantage. So where you didn't have an advantage before, in fact, it was negative for you. It was a bad situation to be in. It sucked that missiles were coming. But now, with this snap, instead what you can do is kind of turn the tables. And sure, he would rather have killed Morgan, but that's not really an option here. Instead, he does the next best thing, which is mix up Akuma. So let's go back to the thing here. That's exactly what you're going to see. So just pause. That's so good. The wave dashing backwards there to escape missiles, amazing. That speed of Dante is something that you're just not going to see from most people. One of the biggest differences between top level Marvel play, it was the case in Marvel 2 as well, and the people who are not as good, that separation, it's all about the movement. You'll notice this immediately. I mean, good luck doing this backwards wave dashing. That is not easy. That is something that he has spent a lot of time practicing. Go back and see how he moved in Marvel 2. Like I said, that was something that he was awesome at. Was moving around, making characters that seemed slow at first. If you were to just pick up the game for the first time and you were to play, Storm, or you were to play Sentinel or something like that, those characters don't seem fast, but you can make them fast. And that's the case in Marvel 3 too. If you just walk around with Dante, okay, his walk speed is not the slowest, but he's not that fast. I mean, almost no character is that fast. You have to have practiced that. It's difficult. And for him to, recognize missiles are coming, even though Doom is almost off screen, go for the snap, and then do this wave dash thing, and then put the pressure on Akuma in this tiny little set of time is so smart. It's such fast thinking, and I was really impressed by it. So, let's go back. Oh, no. Okay. I think it's a little after this, but let it run. Yeah, okay, so he lands and he calls missiles. Yeah. He gets away. Now Akuma put him in block stun, keep him in the corner. He comes up for the classic Dante air hit confirm. And, man, what a turnaround. He would have been dealing with a Morgan who could have done whatever. But instead, he gets the mix-up on Akuma. He can end this character's life. And I'm not really sure why he ends with this super rather than swords. He just wanted to keep it easy. But unfortunately, you don't get quite the same mix-ups as you do with swords because you just, takes more time. Okay, here's another really smart thing. All right, I don't even know if people recognize that, but let's back up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So a classic thing for Chris G to do is go up into the air with Doom, if he feels like he's pressured or if he really wants Morgan in, pause, and just put out these air finger lasers, DHC over to Morgan. He feels like that's a safe way to set up Astral Vision. Presumably the opponent's in block stun, so what are you going to do about it? How about not be in block stun? How about have a character with a teleport? Okay, so notice what Virgil does. Oh, you see him at the end right there? You see, I don't know if we can get that exact frame, but you see for a frame that he's just gotten underneath.
Look at the P1. Watch the P1 jump over.
Yeah, you can see the P1 go from one side of the screen to the other. Just like that. Yeah, it'll come up in just a tad. Here it is. Watch that P. Boom! There it is. Oh my god, he's so smart! And he goes for the throw right there. And And that's going to be it. So he nullifies two extremely important parts of Chris G's game. One of them is to set up whatever he wants, basically, with Morgan by calling Doom missiles. So whether it be offense or defense, or zoning, I should say. That's one thing that we saw him kind of deal with really well before. Now he deals with another classic Chris G thing, another way to set up Morgan with Doom Spirit Fingers into Astral Vision, the DHC. Man, in such a short period of time, in one game, he has taught Chris G that he can't depend on the things that he normally depends on. You can really see that he's thought about how to play against Chris. And even though he hasn't played against Chris much before this tournament, he has definitely been thinking about it, definitely been watching Chris G, seeing what he does commonly, what he does often, what he likes to do, and figuring out ways to get around that. Awesome. So let's go back. And now he's got Morgan. He has the X Factor happening. That's going to be it for her. Now, it's not over. Doom, especially X Factor Doom, he can take care of that whole team. All it takes is 3 hits, and then he's going to win. But, he doesn't quite have... The thing about Doom is that his matchups are weird, right? Like, he has this incredible damage output, but he's got to get the hits first. And he's not quite as mobile as some other characters, and he's not quite as good at zoning as some other characters. So it's kind of weird. But that's definitely what Chris G looks for. And then, yeah, that was definitely a major mistake by Yipes. I'm not sure why he does that. What he did there was teleport up when he saw Spirit Fingers. And I guess he's trying to look for that little seam in between the lasers and land and do something awesome. And maybe I would have wanted to highlight that as being super godlike if it had worked. But it didn't, unfortunately, for him. Luckily for Chris G, though, and Chris gets another chance. He could have ended Dante. Unfortunately, doesn't convert. And now he's just got Doom. Like I said, Doom can zone. He has some pretty high durability projectiles. That super has really high projectile durability, for example. But, it's going to take more than Burning Super to make a comeback at this point. Especially if your character has the ability to get red life back without X Factor, I guess. I mean, nevertheless, Chris puts up a really impressive fight here. There you see, awesome way to deal with the missiles, go into flight, go up back. He knows their exact trajectory. It's ridiculous. And so he's going back. He's trying to stay at ranges that Doom can't really deal with that well. You don't want to be under Doom. That is of paramount importance. But if you're on top of him, it's not quite as bad. So he does a really good job, and he runs away, and he takes that game. So now it's 1-1. And Chris G, as he often starts things out, he wants to be away and make sure that nothing random is happening before he tries to play his game. Yipes cutting off the screen with Jam Session in a way that you really don't see Dante's do for the most part. You really just see that move, I feel, when it's as an assist for the most part. So Yipes really trying to get away. Awesome movement under there. Just go back. Just go back a little bit. I don't want to do too much of this going back because we have so many games to cover, but I just want to do this a little bit. Just play.
Sorry.
Oh, it's cool. It's a little farther than that, yeah. So just when Chris is on top of the screen and Yipes is kind of at the bottom, just pay attention to how fast his little cursor moves. You know that little cursor down there? There it is, the P1. You'll notice it is constantly moving. Like he's not standing still. He's not trying to be in one spot that's predictable to Chris. He's trying to instead dance around Astrovision, dance around missiles, all these things. He makes sure that he has excellent movement. And Morgan goes down. Like I said, he makes such great use of Dante as a Morgan almost counter. I mean, I had thought of this as not being a win for Dante, maybe like an even matchup, but he makes this look really good. At least at the start, we are going to see some really good adaptations from Chris. But Dante putting a lot of work. And now it's over to Akuma. This is something that Chris does a lot as well. He has Doom second, more for DHC purposes. When he's down to just Doom Akuma, he really likes going Akuma Doom, so kind of switching things up, and then playing a character in Akuma who's really good, but you mostly see as an assist or anchor, and using missiles to support him. So Chris trying to put on some pressure here. There's the missiles, not quite close enough to convert on that. And now we're going to see a Virgil in. X Factor most of the way down now. Nice little mix-up right there. And Chris G's Akuma is going to go down too. So Morgan went down pretty quickly. Akuma putting up a little bit of a better fight. Oh, I think he does die though, pretty soon, if I recall correctly. Yeah, just goes for the chip on the awesome Magneto assist. And now he's mixing up Doom, Chris G with a really strong tick throw right there. It's something you don't see very often from Doom. It's just like a regular jump M tick throw into regular grab. And since he's in the corner, he can just do a toward grab without risking a missile, which is nice. But, you know, he has no meter. He's down on life. He has no X Factor. He's got to make a really significant comeback right now. And that is just not going to be easy. So Yipes finds the hit confirm, and just like that, we're at 2-1. That Yipes game face. I love it. So again, Chris G's trying to fly away. He does not want to... He usually does not want to get involved at the very start with a physical altercation. He wants to kind of set things up. And that's what you saw there. But now again, that Dante mobility, the fact that he can use projectiles. In Devil Trigger, he has such good options. He can Psycho Crusher through stuff. He can, you know, throw laser from the top of the screen. Obviously, he's getting red life back at the whole time. Great read there from Chris, expecting Dante to be over on the other side of the screen. And I think it's like I'd love to see somebody count up how many of Dante's moves Yipes uses in this set. My guess is it's most of them, which is pretty impressive to see. Dashing over again to try to make things happen. I love the way that he plays against this Morgan, because it's not like he's playing one-dimensionally. He's not always going in. He's not staying mid-range. He's not playing defensively. It's an awesome use of all three of those play styles. And he brings in Virgil, and that's it for Morgan. So Morgan, you know, I don't want to say that she hasn't been a factor, because she has, but certainly not as effective against this team as Yipes has been playing it as it was. I mean, for example, against the Spencer team to start out, you could really see a different result in how things went. Stab through, gets the trade. Ooh, came down right on top of him though. That had been in the front, might have been a little bit different, but nice. So Doom now, you're going to notice from Chris, I guess you probably have already, that Doom and Akuma, you know, this is not a one-dimensional team. Like I said before, he's got 3 really good characters here, and he has the ability to use them in very strong ways. So now Yipes with no X Factor. He only has his Magneto left. First time that we've seen Magneto come out for an extended play by himself. He's been an assist most of the time here. There it is. Oh my god. So sick. So I mentioned that there are a couple things that you can do if missiles are coming at you. Okay, you can stop your combo. While you're comboing your opponent, you can stop and just do nothing, let missiles hit you, or block missiles, I guess, and then have to deal with the opponents whatever they want. That's bad. You can also stop you can stop by doing a snap, as we saw before. This is something entirely different. So notice the missiles are called. Oh wow, he knew. So don't think that Yipes didn't see that combo. Because this man's reactions are crazy. So even though that was just 2 hits, he knew that was a combo. Don't worry about that. But he knew that the missiles were coming. And I bet that he has looked in training mode, or at least in practice against people, and figured out exactly how long Magneto is invincible during his throw. Because, of course, while you're throwing the opponent, you're invincible to stuff. You see how much time that is? It's like, 5 frames at most off from being the exact amount of time necessary to get through missiles. It's like he times it perfectly. And because he knows he's Magneto and he gets awesome combos post-throw, he's fine with that. Maybe if he's some other character that doesn't get a good situation after a ground throw, he's not happy about doing that. But hey, if you're Magneto, that is a go-to thing, and he makes it look awesome. It's so intelligent of him to do that. So now we have a fast Doom, but like I said, Yipes really trying to make sure that he's on top of things, literally, not just figuratively. When it comes to Doom, you don't want to be in foot dive range. That is the problem area. And so he comes up for the throw, and that is it. Man, what a set from Broken Tears IFC Yipes. Really impressive play. So he resets the bracket. Like I said, he was coming from losers. He lost to Chris G 3-0 in winners finals. And in that set, Chris G used a lot of offensive play. And so I think, I'm just guessing, but I think that Yipes, seeing that, went to the Spencer team. And also, of course, knowing that he has a 3 out of 5 set to play in, went to the Spencer team to see if it would work out against that more offensive style. Excuse me. Instead, Chris G goes to a keep away style against Spencer and kills him, and then that's it for that team. And so he goes back to the Dante team, which he used in winners finals, but not quite as well. And man, he just played his lights out. Like those ways of dealing with missiles. I mean, those are such intelligent and creative things. It's watching that kind of stuff that really makes me love fighting games. I love to see those little creative things. Just the little moments are the things that get it for me. It's not necessarily those big tournament-winning moments where you land the final combo and it's crazy. It's the little things, for me, that make a top player most recognizable as a top player. Those things are so creative, and they're so intelligent, and he does them with such snap decision-making. I mean, dealing with those missiles to snap in Akuma, right? A, recognize missiles. B, stop combo, go to snap instead. C, backdash or wave dash backwards. Then D, go to pressure on Akuma as he comes in. All within like 2 seconds? Like, wow, that's really impressive. So awesome play by him. We're going to take a break, and then we'll go over the final set of Summer Jam. All right, cool. Welcome back to Level 3 Focus. We've been going over the match between Yipes and Chris G in the grand finals of Summer Jam just yesterday. It just happened. It was Yipes' first major win in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Well, in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in general. Of course, he was a long-time pro, awesome player at Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He was one of the gods of that game, but his transition to this game, as far as being a top-tier player, was a little slower. He's finally there. He's everybody's known that he's been really good at the game for a while, but he finally had his breakthrough moment yesterday, and so we're going over the very smart things that he did to take the set. But I also want to go over the very smart things that Chris G did to make it a really close set. This was an awesome final set. It wasn't like one player ran over the other at all. And we just saw that Yipes reset the bracket, so now Chris G and Yipes have a final 3 out of 5 set to play to determine who's going to be champion. So remember what the things were that caused Chris to lose, right? So Yipes has shown that he has these ways of dealing with missiles that are pretty novel, very intelligent. He uses them at excellent times. So the normal game that Chris G goes to, just Morgan missiles, that's such a good combination. It's not really working the same as it does against most people. So he has to think about, what am I going to do instead? He has to remember, well, when I played this guy in winners finals, I played a more offensive style, and I won. I won 3-0, in fact. And maybe I should try that out again. Maybe I should make some adjustments here and there. And in fact, that's what we're going to see in the final set. So let's go back to the video, please. Okay, cool. Notice this style. Okay, you can already pause it. And please start it up again. I mentioned that he won with a more offensive style before, and he hadn't really been going to that. At least at the start, he had been going to this, more cautious, run away, then try to set things up sort of style. Man, he is in there immediately. Takes a little bit of time to think about it. And wow, he's literally holding forward and up toward. And Yipes, not really expecting that, gets lit up immediately. We have Morgan going for OTG Super, which you never see. But because he had the assist, he goes for it there. And so he gets a happy birthday against a Yipes probably caught unawares by this very offensive style. And I think the same thing is why he got caught right there. Yipes is looking for Chris G to back off a little bit. But that's just not the case. Chris G instead is coming at him. Coming at him. And it is not looking good. Like, what a strong start. Here we are with 80 seconds on the clock. And already a character and a half down is Yipes. Now, very important moment again. Okay, so pause. Remember what happened when Chris G did this Air Spirit Fingers DHC over to Morgan last time? Right, Yipes came in with the teleport underneath and got the throw. Let's see what he does differently this time. Alright, that's cool. So unfortunately for Chris, he drops his combo. That could have been the end of Virgil. But no cigar. So notice how long he waits. So long. He is 100% certain that Virgil is in block stun, or I guess he could have, teleported over and have been unsafe already. So he waits to make sure. It's a great adaptation by Chris. After having seen, my guess is, for the first time, that way of dealing with his DHC into Morgan, he immediately is able to adapt and remembers, even though this is a few games later at this point, he remembers exactly how to deal with that situation. Really, really smart adaptation. Yipes with the unfortunate drop combo. A couple of drops so far from two very, very strong players. And now he brings in Dante. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Doom was going to get hit, so Akuma comes in instead. And now he just has one character left as Yipes, and Chris G is in a great position. Yeah, so strong. Comes in with the mix-up, goes low. Easy hit confirm into just the basic Akuma combo. And that's gonna do it. So those two really nice adaptations from Chris. Much more offensive play at the start. Great DHC choice by Chris. You can see he's nodding his head a little bit. I don't know who he's talking to, but it looks pretty happy with himself about what happened in that last game. Yipes making sure he's got the right song on. Always important. I love watching Yipes in between games. And he starts up with that Yipes game face where he's like, his face is horizontal to the ground, but somehow his eyes can still see what's happening. It's awesome. So Chris G, goes to that more defensive style again this time to start things off, but looks for the opening. Because I think he has seen at this point that Yipes' Dante is capable of getting around Soul Fist plus missile. So yeah, he does come in. Waits for the missiles to do their work. And looking for Team Aerial. Doesn't want to waste meter. He knows he's not going to get the kill with one bar with Morgan, so might as well go for the TAC. There's really no reason not to in some situations like that, where you know you're not going to get the kill. You know you're going to need another hit anyway. Might as well just, see if you can get extra damage. So he's even calling Akuma more, is Chris G, which is another adaptation here. He's called Akuma more in this game and the previous game than he did in the previous set. And that's because he has seen that, this more offensive style, which did really well for him in Winners Finals, and then in last game, basically blew Yipes up, is doing really well for him, so he's going to a little bit more often. Akuma is the assist to call if you have the pressure already and want to maintain it. So we have Dante left, Magneto left in the back. Man, that's a lot of damage to lose. There's that Psycho Crusher, like I mentioned before, but Chris G has the perfect positioning, and then goes for this amazing setup. Here, just back off a little bit. Let's go back to just before that Psycho. It's probably around there somewhere. So, Crusher, yeah, gets right through, but look at the spacing that Chris G has. And I almost want to go back and just meticulously go through and see what spacing he had against Dante in general. Because I kind of wonder... No, it's cool. That would take way too long. But I do kind of wonder whether he had been keeping that space the whole time, like specifically, or against Devil Trigger Dante, specifically just in case of that. Like, was he there just because he knew he would get the air throw in case of Psycho? Like, I wonder, because I would not put that past him. But awesome job. He gets the grab and then goes for the setup that I've never seen before. He guesses correct on the tech and then goes for this crazy little cross-up. Rad. So now Magnus is left. We saw Magneto do a good job in the previous set. But now he's, up against the full team of Chris G. And yeah, I'm not really sure why he gets hit there. I went back and forth a few times to see what happened. I almost wonder if there's like a cross up that I don't know about in that Shockwave case. I don't know. I wonder if he was pressing a button and got caught or what, but it was pretty cool. So now we have Doom with Akuma behind him. Still has X Factor, does Chris G, and for the first time in Yipes' play as Magneto against Doom, he gets caught lower than Doom at a time when Doom is coming down for the attack. And that is it. So Chris G is up 2-0. It looks pretty good for him. The only way Yipes is going to win at this point is if he wins 3 in a row against the most successful East Coast Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 player. And it's a really strong start again from Chris G. Again, he goes to this more offensive style, the one that worked really well for him in the first game of this set. The one that worked well for him in Winners Finals as well. Well, this time he hits the Doom and is just going to bring in Astral Vision. And yeah, he just lands on Fireball. Doesn't want to spend meter. Not going to burn X Factor yet, of course. Man, look at that movement. Just dashing back and forth as Virgil. So slippery. I feel like he's just got grease on him the whole time. He's just sliding across the stage. Not just with Virgil, that's just how he plays. That's Yipes. That's not necessarily the character. Comes in right under missiles. Again, that awesome snap setup. It's the same thing that we saw in the first set, so I'm not going to break it down right now, but he goes to it again. And now he finds the happy birthday. X Factor, of course, deal as much damage as you possibly can while you can. Keeping it pretty simple as well. And just like that, things change all the way around. It was because, in part of that snap, because of that awesome movement under missiles and under the Soul Fists. Perfect play. And now he's got to play against level 3 X Factor Morrigan, which is a beast. I mean, she's not easy. Yeah, she doesn't have missiles on top of her, but she's still really good. So he uses the crown to force her to stay still. That way she runs out some of that X Factor time. Very smart play by Yipes. Basically keeps her in mix-ups. And amazing blocking by Chris G. Left to right and some lows in there as well. Really impressive stuff from him. But unfortunately, all that time was spent on defense. And even though it was impressive defense, it wasn't anything that was hitting the opponent. So, awesome play by him. But, you can block forever and you're still going to lose if you were down in life when you started blocking. So Yipes, awesome movement. Awesome way to deal with missiles. Even though he got blown up at the start by Morrigan, he comes back with a very strongly timed poke. I think he just did stinger into that happy birthday to start things off. So Chris G has seen what works for him. It's that more offensive style for sure. He comes in a couple times, but then just gets caught. And unfortunately for him, that Astral Vision is pretty much wasted. Meanwhile, Dante putting in serious work. Got another bar. Oh, yeah, X Factor to kill her off. Now remember, this isn't just the Morrigan show. Doom and Akuma have been really big parts of why Chris G is up 2-1 in Grand Finals in the final set. So it's definitely not over. He is not a one-dimensional player. But, I did mention some of the problems that Doom has. Yeah, okay, he can... If he gets Dante right now, he's going to kill him. But, he's not as mobile as Dante is. His attack angles are a little bit more predictable. And you can see Yipes up there. He knows the timing on things. He knows to block high in those situations. Trying to set up teleport mix-ups. And just staying safe right into X Factor. And he chooses to do it with Akuma. Akuma definitely better at opening the opponent up. Super damaging if using X Factor 3, of course. But Yipes playing that more, offensive contain sort of thing. It's like wasting time. I almost feel like it's jab, jab, jab pressure and cross tech, and you're wasting time by playing offensively, which is pretty cool. It's going to be it for Akuma, I believe. Oh, no, that's right. He has to go for the chip instead. So now Doom comes in, and I mean, obviously this situation sucks for Chris G to be in. Yeah. That's it. So, we're down to the very final game between two very, very smart players. Pause. And they have had this really cool back and forth with adaptations this whole set, and including also the winners finals set. So we had offensive style. We had Yipes switch over to the Spencer team to see whether he could deal with that team better. It didn't work out, so he goes to the Dante team instead. And with Dante, Virgil, and Magneto, he plays this awesome set full of ways of dealing with Chris G's play that are kind of new at least to me, and really interesting and very smartly timed. And then we see Chris G go back to that more offensive style as he's seen what Dante can do. And that works out really, really, really well for him. If not for a happy birthday in the previous game, this tournament might already be over. So he got very close here to taking this tournament. It doesn't work out, at least not yet. And now we have the final game between these two players. So let's go over to this. Yeah, sure. You know what? Let's go to commercial. All right, welcome back. So now we have the final game between Yipes and Chris G at Summer Jam from just yesterday. Let's go to it. See what happens in this one. Remember all the ways that they have both adapted to each other. All of the differences in strategic play. Chris G knows he's far away, immediately starts things off by calling Akuma in the Astral Vision just to make sure he's totally safe immediately rather than later by missiles. And he's really going more to this, just Astral Vision sort of style, it seems. And so I think that's why Yipes gets caught there. He's just looking for more zoning. It didn't come. Awesome little frame trap right there. Like, so perfect. Unfortunately, he drops the combo and allows Chris G to live a little bit longer. Right into Virgil, he can continue pressure. That's what he does. So smart to go into chicken block. And just like that, man, he is really mixing up Morgan right now, and so we'll have to see whether Doom and Akuma can hold up their end of the bargain. No, immediately he X Factors. It's like I guess he knew that was going to hit.
I think he tried to push block and he ended up air dashing.
Oh, was he air dashing rather than push block? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's check it out, sure. Maybe OS or something.
Yeah, watch. Chris G ends up air dashing. I think he tries to push block.
Okay, let's look for the air dash here when... After Morgan gets mixed up, yeah, you just got to get us left and right, really. You know there's a constant threat of cross-up. Well, let's see. Oh, you are totally right, dude. Yeah, he was definitely looking to stay in block stun still and just go for the push block. But there was nothing there, so awesome bait by Yipes. And he sees the backdash and knows that Doom is kind of caught at that point, so immediately on the hit goes into X Factor. And now it's all going to be up to Akuma against essentially a full team. Ooh! Gets popped, but he knows that there's no way to kill because it doesn't have X Factor, and he doesn't have any meter either, so he's going to have to just do something, go for the reset, and look for some situation afterward. Ooh boy, this is where things get interesting. It is Marvel 3 time. X Factor level 3 Akuma is so dangerous. All it's going to take is literally 2 mix-ups at this point for Chris to win. Now, let's pause and go back a little bit and watch as Virgil is just dashing backwards like a maniac. He just does not want to be close. So pause. Another smart thing for Virgil to do would just to put on the safety belt, right? Like, just put on swords, then it's his turn to play. But not really, actually. The guy said it on commentary. I forget if it was Hoshin or Ski Sonic. But if there was swords right there, the reaction is Demon. And with Raging Demon at these ranges, Demon will just catch him. And so he's actually not safe in putting on swords like you might think. So instead, he needs to get block stun first to cancel in to swords. He's backdashing. Come in my range. Yes, finally at the exact spot where his sword will touch, like a pixel. He knows it. He immediately goes into swords. He's trying to waste that X Factor time. It's exactly what he's doing. And he comes in with the sting, and now that's going to be it. All he needs is down toward Fierce into Super, and that is it. Michael Mendoza with his first tournament win in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So nice. Really strong play by Yipes. And really strong play by Chris, too. I really like this set. It's one of the better sets that I've seen in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in quite a while, because there is in-set adaptation. There are really cool things that both players use that are kind of interesting and new, and ways of dealing with tactics that were formerly thought so strong. I mean, it feels like very recently, I guess it was actually only several months ago, people were worried about Morgan, especially this Morgan missiles combination, and how it would just neutralize a lot of teams. Like, there was just no way for lots of characters to deal with it. And people got a little frantic, and they were really worried about how they would deal with this team. I mean, would they have to switch teams? Would they have to switch characters? Would they stop playing the game? I mean, there was some concern about this. But, and so people, some people did things like look for specific combinations of characters. A MODOK, a Strider, a Virgil, for example, which Yipes is already playing. But Yipes does things in this set that make that combination look a lot less dangerous. If you have the movement that Yipes does, if you have the reactions and just wherewithal to do those anti-missile strategies, that is to say the snap and the tick into grab, then missiles are still really good. The Soul Fist missiles I can't imagine ever being bad, but the things that Yipes does in this set can certainly make me think that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a young game. I mean, it is a young game, especially Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It's not yet a year old. So there's a lot of stuff yet to be found, and lots of room to go through in changing in tiers, changing in strategies. And I almost feel like this is kind of one of those moments where you see how somebody else has thought to deal with Morgan missiles, and you kind of rethink in your head, well, how good was that really? I mean, was it game-breakingly awesome? Certainly it's good, and it's not going to be bad, but should I have been as worried as I was before? Well, maybe the answer is no. And maybe Chris G will come back with some new take on this team, some new way to use it. I mean, we saw in that set that he was adapting to certain things. He was waiting longer for the DHC from Doom missiles into Morgan. From Doom fingers into Morgan. And he, was trying to play a little bit more offensively so that slipperiness that Yipes was playing with wouldn't be quite as effective. So you saw just in that set that Morgan has more to say about how she can play. But in any case, it was an awesome set. I needed to point it out as soon as I saw this. Excuse me, I actually didn't see it live. I only saw it this morning. As soon as I saw it, I mean, I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about today, because I'm really happy for Yipes. He's an awesome guy and a great competitor, and I'm really happy he won. But I was also really impressed by Chris's play and their ability to bring out the smartest parts of Ultimate Marvel 3. I feel like a lot of times when you watch like mid or lower level players play, it looks kind of dumb, and and just derpy. And that's how a lot of the game was, even towards the higher levels earlier in the game's life. But now players are getting so good and so awesome at this that perceived randomness, or the volatility is really what it is. It's not random. It's just volatile. Is kind of being... It's not going to be sucked out entirely, but it is certainly less important than it used to be. It is a really interesting thinking person's game, and I'm so happy that Yipes and Chris and Filipino Champ and Fnatic and these guys are bringing that out. I'm really impressed by it. So okay, I guess that's all that I have for today. I actually didn't have any Ask Ultra Davids for today. Nobody sent me anything. Man. I mean, that's fine. If you don't want to ask me anything, that's cool. I've done it before. The questions that I get are usually like law based and stuff. You're not as gameplay based as the ones to James. So that's cool. Thanks for joining us for Level 3 Focus tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, as we always are, for the Tuesday whatevers at 8 p.m. Pacific time on the same bat channel at twitch.tv/UltraChen TV.
NorCal reveal.
Oh, the NorCal reveal, man! You're gonna want to tune in for that. So we have been talking about this tournament that we've been involved with, Aftershock, and NorCal, Northern California versus Southern California rivalry with both King of Fighters 13 and Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3. There's going to be this ridiculous set between NorCal and SoCal and Ultimate Marvel, and tomorrow we're going to be revealing the NorCal team. The SoCal team is going to have to wait until the week after, but NorCal will be out tomorrow, so make sure that you tune into that, because I personally can't wait for that set to happen. That's going to be ridiculous. So tune in for that tomorrow. Thanks again. I'll see you then.